For me, it's very much a vibe of a woman who trusts herself with money, a woman who's continuing to educate herself. She knows where her money is going. She's a relationship with her money. She's spending time with it. She's understanding. She's choosing to utilize it as a tool. Today, I want to bring a new energy to the podcast. I want to change how we do this and how we interact together and what this space looks like for us. Because I think we can all agree everyone has a podcast at this point, and why you choose to consume content in this way on this platform at this time might look different for you. But there's a gap in my own life, and there's something that I find that I'm consistently looking for. And because of that, that is what we're going to create in this space. I think for me, when it comes to podcasts, the thing that I really want, especially with people who I feel like are maybe on my same journey or in my same path, I don't always want to be in a state of like consuming information or diving into 1,010 topics. Like, I've really begun to value this space of just intentionally investing in my energy and feeling like I'm spending time with a friend and letting somebody pour into my cup, where it's not just more and more and more and more and more and all of these things that I need to keep up with and all of this other stuff, that it's really just about valuing one space where I'm intentionally growing and loving on myself and expanding my everyday reality. So that is a season that we're transitioning into. And to kick off what I'm going to call our voice note podcast season, we're going to talk about rich bitch energy, because I have some really exciting things that I've been discovering and trying, and I know that you guys are going to love this too. So let's talk about what is rich bitch energy, because for me, it's very much a vibe of a woman who trusts herself with money, a woman who's continuing to educate herself. She knows where her money is going. She's a relationship with her money. She's spending time with it. She's understanding. She is choosing to utilize it as a tool. Money is something that she has access to, and it is a resource that she's choosing to use to make her life better and the life of those around her better and the life of people in the world. And it is something that she's growing and expanding. Whether or not it's what you tangibly have in your hands right now, it's a continual action and energy that you can choose to inhabit every single day. And I think we hear a lot from the people who have money on the other side, and they've kind of gone through that patch of like getting the money. And then we have the people who are really in debt, and there's this like in between ground that we have to navigate at some point to really be able to get to those spaces. So how do we live in that space of rich bitch energy when maybe we're working on paying off debt, whenever we are navigating, unwiring our own like brain for how money exists? How do we start to vibe with that in a consistent daily basis that only like expands our mind and doesn't put us in a space of, you know, the days where maybe you're going through it and you're like unraveling stuff and you've got less money than you thought and you're not spending the same. So the vibe isn't as high as you want it to be. How do we break out of that? How do we shift? How do we continue to create and educate and bring ourselves back into that rich bitch energy? So I've been implementing what I call like a rich bitch hour into my morning routine. That is a luxury. I'm fully aware of that. Take however this version works for you. But really, my journey at this moment is just to feel comfortable with money, but to also really more than anything feel comfortable with being able to fully support myself on my own. That is one of the things that as I've looked deeper into where money isn't coming in for me or why things aren't coming in, there's this like scaredness and independence and not having anybody that I can fall back on and support, and to counteract that and to be able to feel really comfortable and really secure and just continue to move that needle forward and to build that trust with myself, but also like prove to myself that it's a thing that I'm doing. I've implemented this hour in my morning routine. So it's both about what I'm doing, but also just about like creating space of building trust with myself with money. Now, this always comes to us whenever it's like right for us to start taking these actions, because I'm sitting here recording this for you guys and I'm looking at the several books I've bought about money over the years. You know, A Random Walk Down Wall Street, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, different things at different times. And they've been there. I'm sure they're great. I will probably go through them, but they weren't the book that like really drew me in, because is I've gone through this year of really pushing to manifest my first 60K month and like making that standard. I began to understand that for me, it's really important to educate myself about money, that like there are a lot of people who show up, they can call in money and they just feel really comfortable like calling in big amounts of money and like spending it and letting it go. That doesn't feel safe for me personally, because I just want to know that I have myself. And if that means I need to be a little bit more conservative with how I'm choosing to show up in life, I'm totally fine with that. That just builds trust in my own environment and helps me feel more financially stable, but also just a little bit more emotionally and mentally stable. Like I feel like neutrality is a big part of my human design as I perceive it. I tend to like live in that middle space and I love it. And money allows me to kind of do that. I like to have the option to spend bigger things, but I also want to be able to trust myself with that. So keeping in mind with that, let's talk about some of the tools and resources that I've been utilizing that I think are really helpful, that I want to pass along to you guys wherever you're at with, how you're vibing money right now and maybe where you're trying to explore and embody the next version of yourself. So the first book that I read was Invest Like a Girl. I believe that's like similar title. I will link it in the show notes below. And this for me, I really didn't want to go the route of just all of the noise and how you should invest. And like, I think when you're starting your journey, the first thing that we tend to go through is like understanding our relationship with money. Like you can't really do anything with money until you understand your relationship with money. You can, but you're probably not going to do it successfully. You're probably not going to hit your goals in the way that you want to hit it. So Rich AF is one of my favorites for that. Manifestation Babe has like a 21-day challenge, and that's really great for that. And just kind of making you more aware of how you're interacting with money. But like my next step has really been like, okay, what does it look like to start putting my money in spaces where it's growing? Because I've always been the person who's like got the quiet dream that at some point like angel investing is the vibe, that I'm really being able to like change the world and put the things that I want to see in the world by choosing to fund and resource the people who really need it and who have that vision. Because why not? Like I want to be a part of that journey. But the first part of this was really just kind of taking the training wheels off, or at least acknowledging that I needed some training wheels to understand investing. Like what the F does it look like? What does it exist as? How does it work? What are the things that I need to know? Just give myself like a good overview, knowing that I have a lot to learn and I feel like I'm getting a degree in financial education as I'm going through this. So highly recommend the book. I am a person who really likes to read on my iPad. If you like to read on your Kindle, I really find that it's helpful to read in a digital capacity, because the way that you can do highlights, then when you need to go back and reference something, or if you have a question, you can actually just pull up all of your highlights in one place and find the answer really quickly. But that was like step one to just kind of peeling back the onion for me. Now, step two for me was signing up for Robinhood. And I know a lot of people talk about it. I haven't like started truly playing with it, but I wanted to get familiar with just what it looked like to maybe be a DIY investor and understand kind of starting to save and track stocks and like be mindful about starting to intentionally research and understand things that I did want to invest in, things I didn't want to invest in. Like, as this money is flowing into me, where do I feel like I might want to put it? And what is the state of things right now? So you can like go in and you can create an account and you can add $1 in if you want to like fund your account, but you can even have an account without it and just start learning and like intentionally stalking and really becoming more mindful about, okay, well, I think I want to invest in index funds, but like I want to understand what all of the things are in within this. And like you want to give yourself the time to research and really like wrap your head around it, instead of feeling like you're throwing money at stuff. Like that's not going to keep the alignment with feeling the trust of yourself having money, unless you're like suddenly feeling the call to do that. But for me, this is really just about growing and understanding and feeling like I can take action, knowing that I've helped myself understand like what's actually happening once I take that action. To go along with that action, something that I feel like I really picked up from Girls That Invest is the idea of knowing what your money goals are, so that you can kind of break down, okay, I want to buy a house in this many years, so maybe this portion of this money needs to go into this particular area, and I'm looking to do this with this portion of money. Like, this is a goal, but I'm good if that's like 5 to 7 years. That in and of itself was kind of a like, oh, I didn't think about the fact that that could be something that I would want to do. And even then there's like a next next level of research. So at the time I'm recording this, one of the things that I'm learning is that bonds are really great for those 3-year times. If you're really wanting to grow your money because maybe it's something that you're looking to use as a down payment for a house, that's something that's really recommended. But honestly, bonds are really down in the market right now, and kind of just the never ending Google. Every day I kind of show up and I'm all right, I'm curious about this. I don't understand these 3 things. Let's just ask this question. I take it one little hour at a time, but you're continuing to vibe in the energy of, I'm going to have money. I have money. I'm going to feel abundant with the money that I do have. And I'm going to know how it feels best for me to use it. And I'm going to do it without just taking the advice of everybody else, because I've taken the time to sit down and educate myself. But in saying that, and kind of the reason that I wanted to sit down and record this episode is that I've discovered this website called Investopedia, and I will link it in the show notes below, because they have this really great tool that allows you to play with a fake, I won't even call it, it's not monopoly money, but it's a fake portfolio. So they give you $100,000 in this game, and you can go in and pick the things that you want to invest in. And I find that that's just really fascinating. Because we're all about the energy of learning to play with bigger amounts of money and learning to understand what it feels like to have that money, and kind of just being in the energy of doing that. But I find that it helps me kind of take the actions. I can start to say, okay, in my mind, this feels like a good theory. I'm very much somebody who takes action, but I really like a trial run. I really just want to have the space to test it and see all the things that maybe I didn't see going in, and then I'm going to utilize that to be better about it. But I like to not overthink it. I just kind of start moving and going down the train, and this really gives you the opportunity for that. I think more than anything, it also really invites me to be intentional about people talk about investing in index funds, and that's of course a portion of this portfolio that I'm building, but it's really giving me the opportunity to start intentionally investing different companies and seeing, okay, well, how much of this would I want to hand choose the different companies that I'm investing in versus just really putting it in here or really putting it in there. And it creates a lot of space to play and just be intrigued and curious, and then take some kind of action of saying, okay, in theory, if I invested this much money in this S&P index fund, the EFT, because whole thing, so many letters, but if I invested in that, what does that look like? And just starting to play with seeing it from a perspective of maybe the portfolio that you feel the most comfortable with. Now, that being said, I really hope that this met you where you were at this week. And of course, I do want to talk about another tool and resource, because it's something that I've utilized in my money growth process. And if you get on the wait list, you can get $1,000 off this program, which is phenomenal. And you guys have heard me talk about Money Mentality Makeover for the last 2 years. But my goal for this is just for us to have a space where you're getting to have that voice note from a friend. You're getting just somebody who's really curious and learning about all the things and bringing it back to you, because I'm a projector and that's part of my human design. So we're going to live with that. But also that you're getting somebody who's pouring into your cup and bringing you new tools and resources without you needing to spend hours and hours and hours on the internet. Because I've searched TikTok for answers to certain things, and I find that I'm not finding what I want, and I'm having to Google elsewhere. So I'm going to bring all the Googles to you. Well, let's talk about Money Mentality Makeover really quickly if you're interested in it, or if maybe you're in a space of thinking, okay, my money vibes are kind of okay, or I really would like to have more money in my life, or I really want to understand manifesting. I want to understand money. I want to understand manifesting money. This is a great place to start. Now, I've done a few reviews, I think on the podcast and on my YouTube channel, talking about Money Mentality Makeover and just kind of my journey with it. And I really had a very I discovered all of these things and just kind of piquing my mind in 2020 for manifesting money and kind of bringing that into my bubble of understanding. And even then, I was manifesting more random bits of money than I'd ever manifested in my life. They were just starting to come in different ways, enough that my mind was piqued and intrigued and interested with it. And so eventually I kind of had this quiet understanding that at some point I would sign up for Money Mentality Makeover, didn't think much about it. And then 2021 came around, and there was a gentle whisper that was hey, you should sign up. And I didn't even know if it was on sale. It was just kind of there. And of course, it comes around, It's available for me to sign up like right as I'm starting to think about it, because I'd taken a course before that you actually get back with a Money Mentality Makeover. I got a coupon back for that. So if you sign up for Energy and Frequency of Money, Drop the Motherfucking Money Struggle, or The Wealthy Woman, you get a coupon code back that goes towards Money Mentality Makeover, and you get it for life. And then you get all of the updated modules as they come. Amanda tends to add a new module every single year. But here's the thing about Money Mentality Makeover, and even 2 years in, like going through this journey, is you realize just how unaware you were of everyone else's energy about money. And so you start digging into your history with money, and you start setting new boundaries in your life, and you start changing all of these things because you realize that you've been making choices kind of on autopilot with money that you didn't even realize, and that it's not your responsibility to change those people around you, because there's still going to be those people who are going to have that like vibe and energy, but you're really getting to step into a space where you're becoming more intentional with money, and you're building those relationships, connecting with other humans who are on the vibe of wanting more money in their life, and they're having conversations about it, and they're intentionally showing up for it. And that in and of itself is really powerful. And I think that, again, that's kind of the whole point of doing this podcast, is that we want to be able to find space to connect with the people who are leveling up, and we want that support. And sometimes that can be a little bit more challenging to find in our everyday life. I feel like really when you go from the like normalized thinking to starting to level up, your first ability to find those people and those conversations are going to be on the internet. So this is a great tool for that. It is so many hours, so many modules. I think we're up to 9 modules. There's at least 3 or 4 different bundles within it. Automatically get Drop the Money Struggle whenever you sign up, I believe. And then from there, things will drop weekly. But it's such a just well-built course. It can absolutely change your life, absolutely help kind of break down the barriers for what you've been experiencing and believing about money. So many people manifest money like within the first month. I think I completely manifested the amount that I paid for the course within the first like 2 weeks from a deal that I did with a brand that I worked with previously, and it just came in my email inbox. So there's a lot of good energy there, but it's really such a transformational foundation for starting to do the work and really being in a space of understanding money and manifesting and making it an intentional part of your life. But I hope you guys are liking these voice note podcasts. I hope that we can continue to kind of grow in this space. Share with a friend that you feel like you're on the same wavelength with. Let me know if you guys try Investopedia. I'd love to know what you guys are sticking in your portfolios. Honestly, it's so much fun. It's like having lots of Monopoly money, but like I'm learning stuff that I can actually utilize and then put in my own portfolio, hopefully in the near future. So I will be dropping new podcasts every week, so make sure you're subscribed on whatever platform you're listening to, or if you like a YouTube vibe, this will be on the channel. I am uploading on all the socials, so if there's a place that you want to hang out, come hang out with me. I would love to chat with you guys more, but I love you. It is a good day to have a good day, and I hope you all have a beautiful week wherever you are. Bye, guys.